Matthew 9, and but instead of reading Matthew 9, we're going to go over to Mark chapter 5 and verse 21. It's the same story. Mark just gives us more details than Matthew does. So let's look at Mark chapter 5, beginning at verse 21. And when Jesus was passed over again by boat unto the other side, many people gathered unto him, and he was near unto the sea. So Jesus came across the sea on a boat, and as he got off the boat, everybody and his brother showed up. Okay. And behold, there comes one of the rulers of the synagogue, Jairus by name. And when he saw him, he fell at his feet. Now this is a leader of the synagogue. This is a Jewish leader, big time guy. Okay, he fell at his feet, and he besought him greatly, saying, My little daughter lies at the point of death. I pray thee come and lay your hands on her, that she may be healed, and she shall live. And Jesus went with him, and many people followed him, and crowded in upon him. So this guy's desperate, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, isn't it interesting what people do when they get desperate? And we generally get most desperate when it involves our children, okay? And his daughter was extremely ill at the point of death, and this guy is out of his mind. Nothing else can be done. And he hears about Jesus, and he comes and he prostrates himself before the Lord, and he says, Come, lay your hands on my daughter so that she'll live. I mean, this was his only answer, right? So, and Jesus says, okay. And Jesus went with him, and many people followed him and crowded him. So here Jesus is. There's a crowd flowing through, okay? Everywhere he goes, there's people, and there's this huge crowd flowing around, all right? Now you got to realize, for Jairus to come to Jesus as the leader of the synagogue, this was a big deal, because the Pharisees and everybody else wouldn't have anything to do with him, and this guy was involved with the Pharisees because he was the ruler of the synagogue, a wealthy man, a religious man, a man highly respected. So for him to do this, he was desperate, no doubt. And I'm sure when he did this, there were all sorts of Pharisees that went, oh, what's wrong with Jairus? Why would he do that? Well, we do interesting things when we are really desperate, don't we? It's interesting what we'll do, okay? And Jesus said, okay. So Jesus begins to move toward Jairus' house, and there is a huge crowd with him, okay? Now, you ever been in a real good crowd? I was in, I think, one of the best crowds I was ever in. I was at a Billy Graham rally. This was years ago at the Silverdome. Okay? You remember the Silverdome up in Pontiac? Yeah. This was years ago. And the reason the crowd was unusual for crowds for me to be in was when it was done, we all had to go out. And they only have revolving doors at the Silverdome. In order to keep the roof up, they can't open all the doors at the same time. So everybody had to go out through a revolving door. Well, how do you move 50 or 60,000 people out through revolving doors? It's crowded. And everybody's jostling against each other, and everybody's moving against each other, and everybody, it's just crazy. So when you're in a crowd, everybody's moving you, you're touching all sorts of people, people are touching you, right? You've all been in some kind of crowd, right? Mm-hmm. It's part of what we do, all right? So Jesus is going, they followed him, and they crowded him, because everybody wanted to be around Jesus. And notice verse 25. And a certain woman who had an issue of blood 12 years. Now, when it talks about an issue of blood here, one of the things you have to understand, one of the interesting things that you have to understand when it comes to the issue of blood is when it talks about this, you have to understand that a woman has her menstrual period every month, as we all know. When she did that, every woman is considered unclean. Okay? It's part of the Jewish law. She's unclean the entire time she's on her menstrual cycle. Okay? And she had to go do some sacrifices and stuff when she got done. It was part of life, part of women. All the women understood this. The issue with menstrual cycles is it only lasts a few days and it's done. This lady had some kind of issue of blood, might have had a tumor, any number of things, for 12 years.
No bueno.
I got to think about this on the way over here. This is 2016. If my math is right, 12 years would have been 2004. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Do you remember what you were doing in 2004? I mean, it's a long time.
Yeah.
12 years to have a bleeding issue. So this lady, and you have to understand, again, stick with me, because she had this bleeding issue, she's ostracized from society. Why? She's unclean. She's just like a leper. Okay? And because she's like the leper, nobody has anything to do with her. I'm sure her husband wouldn't have anything to do with her. Her family couldn't have anything to do with her. This lady's basically out on her own. Okay? So now, stick with me on this. Jairus, don't forget about Jairus. This is important. Jairus, is he in a hurry to get Jesus to his daughter?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Boy, is he in a hurry. Why? She's at the point of death. He's got to get there. Because Jairus only assumed Jesus could do something while she was
Alive.
All right? Isn't it interesting how we limit the power of God? We do it all the time. God's able to do anything, and we go, I don't know.
Also, assuming Jesus has to touch her.
Yeah, see, all these assumptions we make. We make all these assumptions. Along this line, it's interesting you say that. When Steve was little, my boy, we read the Bible to him, but we read Bible stories to him, and we also had these books that taught good biblical principles, good biblical truth. And I remember why do I remember this? It was about Minnie and Maxie Muffin. That's what they were called, this boy and girl. And Minnie's cat was caught up a tree. Okay? And Maxie came running in the house, and he says, Dad, Minnie's cat's caught up the tree. And his dad got out there, and his dad's watching the storm come. Huge storm's coming. And he looks at Minnie and Maxie, he said, I don't know what to do. Let's pray that Jesus will help us get Minnie down get the cat down from the tree. Simple story. And while they pray, and sure enough, a fire engine comes by, and the fireman sees the problem, and he gets out, and he gets up the tree, and he gets the cat in. I thought, well, that's a nice story, right? Cute story, good story. Steve, he was 3. This is what he does. Kids think differently than we do. He looks, I said, what do you think about that? He said, well, I guess, okay. He says, hey, Dad, why didn't they just pray for it not to rain? But we don't think about that, do we? No. We think, well, I got to get the cat down. No. Well, if the problem's the storm's coming, that's why we got to get it down so fast. Well, let's just pray for it not to rain. What a simple solution.
Right.
But I didn't think of that. Kids think differently than adults. You know why? They're wide open faith. They have faith in everything. They believe God can do anything. And there's no limits. I didn't think more like that. So anyway, back to this woman. She's had this issue of blood for 12 years. For 12 years, she has been what? Ostracized from society. Couldn't go into the synagogue. Couldn't worship. Couldn't do anything. All right? 12 years. That's a long time. And verse 26 is so true. And had suffered many things from many physicians, and had spent all she had, and was no better, but rather grew worse. I don't know about all the people in this world who are involved with pain and agony and all sorts of problems, and have gone to doctor, and they are still in pain, and this doesn't seem to be an answer to it. Just doesn't seem to be an answer to it. And it's important, of course, to find a good doctor. Thank goodness for good doctors, but a lot of them just don't know what they're doing. Just don't know what they're doing, But it's amazing to me. This lady had spent all of her money. We got people spending everything they've got to get well, and they're still not getting well, all right? Because sometimes these doctors just don't know what the problem is, all right? So verse 27. When she heard of Jesus, came in the crowd and behind and touched his garment. For she said, if I may touch but his clothes, I shall be well. So this lady says, I don't need to talk to him. I don't need to have any kind of conversation with him. He doesn't need to do anything for me. If I can just touch the hem of his garment. Probably what she was going to reach for. Jewish men all wore a prayer shawl around their waist. And on the bottom of the shawl were tassels. They all had tassels on them. And she was probably just wanting to reach out and touch the tassel on his prayer shawl. And she believed if she could touch the tassel on his prayer shawl, she'd be healed. This faith, okay? So look at verse 28. She said, for she said, if I may touch his clothes, I shall be well. And straightway, right away, immediately, the fountain of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of that plague. So here this lady is on the ground, right? She's on the ground. Don't miss the fact that she's on the ground, okay? She's on the ground. She's reached out. She's touched the tassel or the hem of his garment, and she is immediately healed because she had faith, okay? She's still on the ground. There's all these people crowding around him, and this dear lady is on the ground. She could have got trampled, but she didn't care. Why? This had to be taken care of, all right? And so look at verse 30. And Jesus immediately, knowing in himself that power had gone out of him, turned about in the crowd and said, who touched my clothes? Now again, notice the response of the disciples. He said, and his disciples said unto him, hey, don't you see all these people crowding you, saying, who touched you? What do you mean, who touched you? Everybody's touching you. Everybody's going, eh. But you see, They were just bumping into him. This lady touched him. Yeah. There's a difference between somebody who just bumps into you and somebody who touches you. Mm-hmm. And this lady touched Jesus, and the power went out from him and healed her immediately. She's still on the ground, and Jesus stops. Now, stay with me. Jairus. Don't forget Jairus. Where are they going? They're going to Jairus' house. Oh, yeah. Right? They're going to Jairus' house because Jairus' daughter is dying, and he needs to get there. And all of a sudden, Jesus stops. Can't you see Jairus going, oh, no. Come on. Who touched you? Are you kidding me? Come on. Hurry up. But Jesus, oh, no. Who touched me? You got to get the picture. It's a great picture. Jairus is going, come on.
But wouldn't Jesus know who touched him?
Sure he did. But you see,
want to see somebody would answer to it.
He wants people to answer, and he wants people to identify themselves. Because one of the great things that God asks of us is to confess who we are. When we confess our sin, we're confessing who we are. Okay? So, who touched me? I just love this. And he looked round about to see her that had done this thing. I mean, couldn't miss her. She's the only one where? On the ground. Okay? But the woman, fearing and trembling, this lady was scared to death. Why? She'd been scared for 12 years. For 12 years. Okay? And knowing what was done to her, came and fell down. She probably had moved away. And now she's coming back to him, and she falls down and told him all that she'd done in the truth. And now she's back on the ground again. Still there. And she's bowed down to Jesus, and she just told him the whole story. All right? And like he didn't know it, but it was good for her to tell him. Okay? And notice what Jesus says to her. And he said unto her, daughter. This lady who had been ostracized from society, this lady who had no connection with family, all of a sudden realized that this man who just healed her made her part of his family. Isn't it good to be part of the family of God? It's just a wonderful, wonderful, good thing. It's such a joy to me to run into believers everywhere I go. They do. You just run it, and it's easy. It's kind of fun. You kind of find each other. It's an interesting thing. You find each other, and it's so much fun, and so much. It's just a wonderful thing because you're all part of the same family. It's a family thing, And then again, that's something the world doesn't understand. It's something the media definitely didn't understand, especially during this election. They didn't get that. Right. We're a family. Little sidelight, not to get off on politics, but I was just fascinated with this. I saw a thing. There was a huge international prayer meeting going on the night of the election. And they were praying specifically right around 9:30 when everything began to change. Everything started changing that these people were praying when it all happened. Why? And God got together to ask God the Father to do something special. Right. And when the family calls, Dad answers. Isn't it true? Mm-hmm. Your family calls, that's what we do, right, Kenny? Right. Mike, you're going to find out. Ruby's going to be calling more and more. All right, so, as they do it, it's one of those things, okay? And as we do that, the Father answers, all right? So he calls her daughter. He says, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be well of your plague. Jesus says, your plague's gone, lady. It ain't coming back. Don't you know this lady's going, wow, this is the greatest day of my life. 12 years she'd had this problem. I don't want you to miss that. This is important, okay? Where's Jairus? Still, come on. I'm really glad you healed that lady. Come on, all right? We got to do this, all right? And while this is going on, Jesus just heals this lady. 12 years, that's great stuff. While he yet spoke, Jesus still spoke to me and this lady. There came from the ruler of the synagogue's house a certain one who said, your daughter is dead. Don't trouble the master any further. Oh, Jairus is going, maybe if he hadn't stopped for that lady, maybe if he hadn't done that for her, maybe he'd have got there in time. Don't you think it's got to be going through his mind? It cannot be going through his mind. And he is absolutely devastated. This little girl that he loves with all of his heart is dying. You understand that? I understand that. So, notice what Jesus says. As soon as Jesus heard the word that was spoken, he said unto the ruler of the synagogue, Jairus, don't be afraid. Just believe. Isn't it interesting how fear controls us? Fear is an overwhelming thing. We got people all over this country doing a lot of weird and strange things because they're afraid. Fear, and you know what fear is? It's contagious. It's contagious. Little sidelight, and I'm going to do this, but in regard to this, I don't know if you remember the story in the Old Testament with Gideon. He was gathering an army, and God said, like 10,000 guys showed up to be in the army, and God said, this is too many, we got to wean them out. And Gideon said, what? We're going up against 300,000 Midianites, and you're saying I got too many? Yeah, you got too many. So they went through this whole thing with the water and stuff, and he narrowed it down to 300 guys. And you're going, well, God, this is a real smart move on a general's part. Well, God didn't need these guys. But the thing was, God wanted to use the guys who were what? Had faith, and who were what? Not afraid. Because fear is contagious. And fear will debilitate you. It'll just take you right down. Did you ever notice that? Mm-hmm. If you're afraid, you're a mess. All right? If I'm afraid, I'm a mess. And if I'm afraid and I'm a mess, everybody else is going to be afraid and be a mess. One of the things I taught Steve, especially, and Melissa, and I'm trying to teach to my grandkids, I said, look, when people are panicking around you, somebody has to keep thinking. You've got to keep your head about you. You've got to not panic. You've got to think. All right? It's terrible. Y'all see the Titanic, the movie?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think that boat would ever sink. Okay, that was the longest movie I've ever experienced in my life. Okay. Anyway, and I know it's a love story and all that stuff, but my wife drugged me to this thing, and I'm sitting there for 3.5 hours, however long it is, and this boat's just sinking and sinking. Good grief, get this over with. I mean, it's like there's no surprise at the end of this. We know the boat's going to sink. Okay, so we get done, and we're walking out, and we're getting in the car, and my wife looks at me and she says, "What'd you think of the movie?" I said, "Well, it took that boat a long time to sink." And she said, "Oh, but it was such a wonderfully romantic story." I'll give you a break. I mean, here's the thing. If I'd have had that much time, I would have figured out some way to create something for me to float on. I'd have taken a door off. I'd have done something. Right. You had enough time. But what did most people do? They panicked.
Just grab on some floating panic.
Get on something, But the thing is, they just panicked. Why? Fear took hold of them. And they didn't do anything. And when people are afraid, they don't do anything. So somebody's got to not be afraid.
Panic, ladies.
Somebody's got to not be afraid, because it's very common. It's very, very common. I understand that. It's just one of those things. So knows what happens. In verse 37, and he permitted no man to follow him except Peter, James, and John, of the brother of James. And he comes to the house of the ruler of the synagogues, and seeth the tumult and those who wept and wailed greatly. Now, little sidelight here. Two things. Peter, James, and John. As we go through the gospel, we're going to notice there's several times where Peter, James, and John are the only ones of the disciples that are with Jesus. All right? And you're going, well, they're kind of the inner circle, probably, of the 12 disciples. Okay? And I've heard there's two ways of looking at this. Most people think, well, they were the leaders. Maybe they were the weakest. Maybe Jesus wanted to keep the weakest. Maybe he knew what he was going to do in those particular guys, and he knew they were going to need great faith. And he wanted them to see some things that the other guys didn't need to see. I always wondered about that. One of those questions I'm going to get answered.
Were they his brothers? Because some of his brothers were his disciples too, correct?
Well, James and John were brothers.
Which ones were the sons of thunder?
Yeah, James and John were the sons of thunder.
Maybe they were kind of like the security.
Well, I don't know. I've always wondered about that. But we're going to notice them as we go through Matthew. We're going to see it more. That Peter, James, and John. Yeah, okay.
What's a tumult?
Tumult is yeah, it's a great word. I'm glad you asked. The tumult. This is. I'm going to a funeral home after we get done here. Okay, dear friend died, and I'm going to go there, and it's going to be quiet there. Funeral homes are quiet, aren't they? Not in Israel, not during the day. What they would do, if you died, your wife would call professional whalers and professional flute players. Okay? Now, in your case, Kenny, she'd probably just buy one flute player and one whaler. But this guy's rich, all right? And this guy's got a lot, so there's a bunch of here's what they're doing. They're going, oh. I mean, you're a whale. All right? I'm not your whale. I don't know how you do it, but that's how you do it. And then the flute players, and this is history tells us this. This is fascinating. The flute players aren't, you think, well, flutes would be a nice, calming. No. They play off-note kind of things where it's noise. It's noise, and it's irritating kind of noise. And that's to indicate again that you're sad.
It's your mourning.
Okay, so Jesus shows up with this poor Jairus, and the whole crowd's already there because his wife's called him. Everybody knew the girl was going to die, and you got all these people going, and all this stuff. All right,
The
so
bigger the better.
oh yeah, the bigger the better. The bigger the more wailing and the more flutes playing, the more important your family is. Okay, that's what it boils down to. Okay, so take it with me. So that's what the tumult does. And he says, those who wept and wailed greatly. These people, isn't it? I don't know about you. I'm always amazed at actors who can just cry on cue. I mean, I'm impressed with that. I don't know how you do that, but I mean, these are professional wailers and professional criers. They could do it at the drop of a hat. Okay, and
So they're hired by George Soros.
yeah, there you go. Verse 39. And when he was come in, he said unto them, Why do you make such a ado and weep? The child's not dead, but sleeps. Now notice what they did. And they laughed him to scorn. How could you go from weeping and wailing and blowing stupid flutes to laughing? Well, because it's fake. Okay? And all of a sudden they're there. He said, but when he had put them all out, he took the father and the mother of the child, and those who were with him, Peter, James, and John, and entered into where the child was lying. So can you imagine this mother and father go into a room with Peter, James, and John, and Jesus, and their little girl is laying there dead. They know she's dead. They know she's been dead. However long it took Jesus to get there, they know she's dead. Okay? She's been dead for a while, probably, for at least a few minutes. Okay? So she's dead. This mother's upset. This father's upset. And Peter, James, and John, again, these are kind of questions I want to ask. They're standing there and they're going, she's dead. What are we doing? What does Jesus mean she's asleep? What on earth is he doing? What are we doing?
Does he really know she's not breathing?
Yeah,
right
does
now?
he not get this? You know? And again, this is the first time. So notice what he says. And he said, the child's not dead but asleep. Look, verse 40. And they laughed him to scorn, but when he put them all out, he took the father and the mother of the child, and those who were with him, entered into where the child was lying. And he took the child by the hand, and said unto her, Talitha cumi, which is being interpreted, little child or damsel, I say unto you, arise. The literal, the Talitha cumi is actually be literally translated. Do you know what literally means? Little lamb, get up. Isn't that nice? Little lambs, get up. Because this is important. Look at verse 42. And straightway, immediately, the child arose and walked. Wonderful indication that you're not dead. You're walking. And she was of the age of 12 years. How long had that lady had that issue of blood? 12 years. So this girl's entire life, that lady had this issue of blood. Isn't that amazing? 12 years. And they were astonished with great astonishment. You think? Don't you think? Verse 43. And I love this. Jesus does this several times. And he charged them strictly. He said, look, I'm serious about this. That no man should know it. And commanded that something should be given her to eat. He says, she'll feel better. She's fine. Give her something to eat. It's been a while since she ate. She needs to eat. But you know what he said? Don't tell anybody. Now let me ask you something.
Everyone like,
I don't know if it's reverse psychology. I don't know. I don't know what Jesus. There's something one of those questions you go, eh. But would you not tell anybody?
Well, everyone would know.
I mean, yeah, everyone would know. All right, and so I'm not sure why Jesus told him not to tell him that. It might have simply been because he was trying to create something. He was trying to establish who he was, and he was going to do this in an orderly manner. And the less unusual things he had to cause problems, the better off he was to get his mission accomplished. But these people weren't going to be quiet. There's no way on earth they were going to be quiet. You know?
I don't know, man. If somebody resurrected my daughter from the dead and they were like, "No, don't tell anybody," I'd be like, okay.
But I don't think you keep, I don't think you keep around. I mean, these people had to come out, and there's all this crowd outside. And this little girl's coming out with them. And they're all going, look, what'd the crowd do?
I thought she was sick.
She's dead. Well, obviously not. So a lot of them think, well, maybe she just wasn't
a family physician.
Yeah, fire them all. Okay, but the thing is, we have to understand what Jesus was doing is what? He's showing his power. Now, could Jesus have raised everybody from the dead?
Yeah.
Indeed, he's going to. Indeed, when we get to the story of Lazarus, one of the things he says is, Lazarus, come forth. If he would have just said, come forth, guess what?
Everyone would have come.
Everybody would have come forth. Okay? That's part of the deal. All right? But he didn't say that. He's very specific. Look, simple thing, I'll let you go. We're done. I heard this, and I thought about this in regard to this little girl. A really wise pastor. I appreciate wise pastors. There aren't a lot of them floating around, but this guy's wise. He was really good. I don't know him personally. But I read the story, and I thought, wow, what a great answer. Couple, their little boy, three years old, had died. He was in the hospital, very, very sick, and he died. And this upset father looked at this wonderfully good, godly pastor, and he said, where was God when my son died? And do you know what he said? He said, he's right where he was when his son died. I thought, wow, what a great answer. What a great answer. God can't raise everybody from dead. His purpose is not to raise everybody from dead. He has a purpose in life and in death to do something in all of us. All right? Our responsibility is what? Trust him. That he knows what he's doing. That's the important thing. We got to trust him. And I guarantee you, Jairus' faith went through the roof.
Yeah.
You know, don't you think? And Peter, James, and John went back to the disciples. Don't miss this. He said, what's going on in there? Well, this little girl's dead, and he raised her from the dead. He did what? He raised. Nobody can do that, but. And I think Peter, James, and John go, yeah. Nobody can do that but God. And and so I think sometimes we read these stories and we don't think about all the human reaction that goes around. That's why I wanted to share it with you today, because I think we have to realize God does something in human life, and when He does it, it affects so many people in so many different ways. Isn't that great stuff?
Yeah.
Really is. Let's pray, shall we? Lord Jesus, we thank you for loving us, and we thank you for all that you do in us. And Lord, we're looking forward to the day, indeed, when you're going to say, come forth, and everyone who's ever died in you is going to come forth and be raised and to live with you forever in heaven. And Lord, we're thankful that spiritually they're already there, but you're going to give them a new body when you tell them to come forth. And Lord, for anybody who doesn't know you as Savior, if they've never asked Christ into their life, might they simply, in their quietness of their heart, recognize their sin. Ask Jesus to forgive them for being a sinner, and ask Him to come into their life and be their Savior. And if they'll do that, then they're going to know what it means to have faith in you, no matter what life may bring. Lord, I thank you for what you're doing in us and what you're going to accomplish in us. And Lord, we just rejoice in your goodness to us. And we're going to thank you for it now in Jesus' name. Amen and amen. Thank y'all. That's good stuff. I love that story.